So hello, my name is Marek Shanta, and what are we going through is a presentation we were making on a Vashek Matyas course called Advanced Topics to Information Security. The course consisted of a term project, and we all had to select some topic about the term project for our term projects, and I selected logs because I think also the IT security professionals should have some uh, some basic information, some basic awareness about logs and their vulnerabilities. So welcome to it. I called it also the crash course for IT security experts to the logs. And let's start. So what I'm trying to do, as I told you already, is to extend your overview. So from my project, you will learn the basics of various locking mechanisms and their known vulnerabilities, including probabilities of exploitation. Ideally, this should lead to your ability to select an appropriate lock for the next time you become responsible for some premises, maybe even your home. And that is what you will find in the paper. But for this elevator pitch, as Vashek Matyas called these presentations, I find much more beneficial to explain the motivation behind this. So, why should you care about this at all? Well, a physical presence of an attacker implies severe increase of an attack surface. You could basically see that in the very first lecture, by the way, of the course, where we talked about the physical vulnerabilities of, I don't know, smart cards, or how you can get the data from frozen memory and so on. And basically, how can an attacker get to this context of when he is able to do all these attacks? Is basically this: how to get physically to a premise. So next reason is, in academic world there is almost nothing to lead you. Like, really, you won't find. One of my colleagues in the course, he made a project which was very interesting, and I knew about it before, but I was really happy that somebody brought this up, and it was about the acoustic attack. So from the sound of an inserted key to the lock, they were able to determine the cuts of the key. Very interesting. But apart from that, like the real physical vulnerabilities, there is nothing. Like, nothing academic, with one exception I will tell you about in a while. Another thing is that around logs, even IT experts are like an average user browsing the internet and having no clue about man-in-the-middle attacks. So I just see all these IT experts that just go grab their keys and unlock the door, and I know that most of them just don't think about the lock. It's just like a thing of course. Like, for an average person, browser and computer and internet is a thing of course. They don't think about the technical details. The IT security experts, they just don't think about the locks. Most of them. But it is true that once at our Crocs lab, led by basically my favorite professor or docent on our faculty. What's it called? I just can't remember names. Sorry. Oh, it was led by. Well, I have to look it up. Sorry for that. Really sorry for that. I have to look it up because he's really my most most favorite favorite uh, teacher basically on the university. Wait for it, wait for it. I have to find. Yeah, Peter Schwenda. He leads a Crocs laboratory, and once there are open days, and I remember that once there was an open day about locks, and it was really interesting. I basically saw the types of people who were really interested about it. Like I would expect from these people to be interested in locks, and many of them brought like their really basic tools. I don't have the examples here, but I have some of them like really cheap basic tools that could be attached to a keychain, basically not very effective with European locks, but anyway, it was interesting, and I was very happy that at least something was being told about locks at our faculty, but only once. Next thing is that the lock sport, yes, it's called lock sport, is popular, increasingly popular. A few decades ago, there was like absolutely no public information about the topic. Only, locksmiths and criminals had some and tried to prevent it from spreading. Even now, the Czech company I'm referencing towards many times in the paper, they are making a non-public, like only for the locksmith professionals. It's Called Agent B Academy. You will find that in the paper. Courses, basically, for only 10 people at a time, where they will teach them the basics of basically lockpicking. Yes, so that's the thing. Even the professional locksmiths, it's not a thing of course that the professional locksmith knows something about locks and their vulnerabilities. That's really a strange thing. I think you really can see from the videos that there is one video from the academy that there are just you see an old locksmith, and he's just seeing for the first time the basic bypass of some old padlocks that could be bypassed just by grabbing the snatch from the keyway. And he was like surprised of how does this work? Like something that was among the first things I learned when I was a teenager. So this is interesting. But the people who are starting with lock picking, not locksmithing, who are into lock sport, they know about all this. And the first thing that started this basically was the one of a very few academic papers, was the 1991 MIT Guide to Lockpicking. And from then, everything is different now. Everything. And the popularity in the last few years was increased, especially by this guy. He calls himself lockpicking lawyer. I'm sure that almost every one of you has seen at least one video from him. He made it into an entertainment basically, and multiple of my friends bought their first tools like from AliExpress and started picking, influenced only by him. Next thing is the tools availability. This is me 11 years ago. I had to basically make my own tools, as everybody did back then. And these tools were from wiper insert, like all these basic picks you had to do from wiper insert because that was the best material for that. It didn't need much filing, much machining, and it just worked. And the snap gun in there is made from an old Rainbow, and it still works well. Really, like I'm still having it in my kit, and I'm still using it. But now, as you will find out, there is a competition, basically competition on the market that just wasn't there 10 years ago. And almost any tool you will ever need is just few clicks away on AliExpress or Banggood or eBay, or basically the eShop of much better professional tool makers, which I reference in the paper. And they are much higher quality, and some of them are like mathematically computed for like our region, European region, where the keyways are really harsh to navigate. So, for example, I will just show you quickly. This is my tool bag. This is Lowlock Tools Valerian Euro set, which is basically the Euro is because it's thin in this side and it's thinner in this side, and that's because of the keyways. So it's easier to navigate with these thinner picks in the keyways than with the picks you will buy in the US, because they don't need them. Okay, next important thing is likelihood, because everybody will tell you like lockpicking, no, it's just not the way how thieves are doing things. They are just interested in the fast and easy money, so they'll just break your window and grab everything that's in there. And yes, that's true. The vast majority of burglaries use brute force. Sorry for my bad English. And only 1 to 6%, that's from various police sources, are won by lockpicking. However, as Matt Smith said, the number might be higher, because the only way this can be confirmed and actually be in the statistics, get into the statistics, is by forensic examination, and that is really expensive. So, like a very few professionals can do this. They have to dismantle the lock and look at the scratches under the microscope and determine, okay, this lock has probably been picked. But they will never know if that was because you just left your keys somewhere on the table in a bar and somebody photographed your keys and made a copy, which is actually very easy. I just briefly write about that in the paper, how this can be done, and where actually in Brno they will create the key for you. I have tested it multiple times. They will never know that. Like it's really an equivalent of the thief just like having your key, just because he photographed that, or if you have something for some keys, for example, I don't know, these Tokos Pro, they are basically there are 8 cuts, and all of the cuts can have 4 levels. So for example, I can just look at the key for 10 seconds and tell you the combination and basically make that key. Very easy. Like, this is a protected profile, so they will be pretty reluctant to do that, but if you have a locksmith that is a friend of yours, he will do that, or if you have a business. So for example, this, I can see that it is wait, I'll just have to think about that. Yes, 244122134. Now, how to confirm that? I have a security card, the security card towards the key. Well, this is a botched card. This is a fake card. I tried to I tried to make a key I wasn't supposed to, because basically all they need to do is to put the code in the machine and the key will go out, and you are supposed to bring the key, the original key, with yourself, but they rarely like compare it. They see it's similar and they don't think it. So sorry, I have to dismantle this botched card. Ah, shit. Sorry. It's really kind of started to be a part of the card. It's basically from a label manager. This is the original size of this part is basically the same as standard label from label managers. Okay, this is starting to take too long for something like this, but okay, I will just show you the numbers which we are interested in. Okay, so you see that. Okay. So how I told that. Yes, sorry, that wasn't 3, that was 2, but you know, like if you train for that, you will just really tell. So I can see this is 2, 4, 4, 1, 2, 1, 3, 4. Yeah, simple like that. Like if you train for this, you can just look at some keys, you remember the profiles, for example. The most used here are fab profiles, and there are just a few types of them, and if you know the depths, and you can just teach yourself to remember them and make keys upon that. It's not as simple, of course, but I'm just spending too much time about this. Sorry about that. You can just photograph the key and make it. Yes, so this is not included in this evidence because it's not possible to verify. It's just not possible. Also, insurance companies, they will try to accuse you that you just left your key somewhere or did not lock your door, and from what I heard, and also Matt Smith is talking about that, people do damage to their property. They just break their own windows just to have some evidence for the insurance companies that okay, there was something. Because if you come home and there is just nothing that would tell you that like something is lost, but there is no evidence that you had a break-in, insurance company will just not do anything. So they do damage to their property just to get something from insurance. Next, vending machines. Yes, vending machines, parking machines. The locks are really horrible. Like you can open that with self-impressioning tools like this. Like these tubal locks, they're nothing. Most of them are like really nothing. What an absolute novice. If I give this tool to anybody and explain them in 3 minutes how to use it, very simple, they will open almost all the locks. Like all the vending machines I saw in my life had locks that were really simple and primitive to pick for anybody, and you can just live on that. If you let's say take only few percent occasionally from all of them, it rarely gets noticed like for years, and that's something that Matt Smith called skimming, and he really he did that for a living for a few years. And what is more important, we were talking about the thief, about the primitive theft. like primitive theft, like most of them, they are motivated by fast money. But if somebody is red teaming you, somebody tries to hack you, steal the information from your company, the espionage and so on, or somebody wants to destroy you, or sabotage, all of this, he will use every possibility. And in all red teaming teams in Czech Republic, like the professional team that is doing that, I think is only one company that is doing that, AIC or something like that they're called. Not sure right now. AEC, I think. Uh, all of them have at least one person that is like really into log sport, because that's really important for them. It's true that most of the entries, I'll just talk about that, can be done differently, like not by picking locks, because the doors have some other vulnerabilities and so on. But remember, just if somebody is red teaming you, either they are white hat or black hat, they will use every possibility. So this is an important thing to realize. Yes, this is what I wanted to tell. Lockpicking is far from the only way of covertly get into premises. You have your windows, like this tilt windows we all have, we all use these plastic windows. They have one mind-boggling vulnerability. You can drill a hole just underneath the handle, and there is basically a tool you can buy it. Everybody can buy it in Europe from Germany. The tool that just you will push through the hole, you will extend the tool one part, and you will just open the handle and get inside. And you can then just fill in the hole, and nobody will notice. So that is just one example. There are under door attacks, over the door attacks, hinge attacks. You can see everything. One of the best professional in this is Deviant Olem. I recommend you, really recommend watching his talks. There are many of them, and all of them are really interesting. He has a 2 hour long talk about elevators. That's really interesting topic. Like, just saying, there are much more ways than lockpicking, but and you should know at least basic things from every part. But the locks are basically the basic concept. Okay, because I want to elucidate the topic from your point of view as an IT security expert, let's say, let me now talk about the similarities with IT security. First of all, locks are just like ciphers. They basically come and go. The classic cat and mouse game. There are always many cipher and locking mechanisms that are trying to be as safe as possible, and there are many people which are trying to find vulnerabilities and attack it. And I bet that with the current situation, how it is, that some logs are being used for 20 years in some flats and nobody's thinking about that, and even the latest log you will buy, they're like the same shit, basically, sorry for the words. I bet that most of you, after a few weeks practice, that's I think the worst case scenario, and of course the right tools, that's very important, you would be able to open the lock on your front doors to your flat where you're living, your home, your house. I'm really betting on that. Most of you, 98%, let's say, or 99.7. 3 sigma is always nice. And that is because really every lock is pickable. I don't know about any lock right now that is known and is considered by the vast lockpicking community as unpickable. I really don't know about such lock. And here is just a selection of locks considered to be among the best on the market, I don't know, a few years ago, let's say. And now we see the Abloy Protect 2. Sorry, it's still considered as one of the best, but it can be picked. It just can. I didn't have time to talk about every of these mechanisms in the presentation, which was only 5 minutes. So I can now, so the Protect 2 is currently considered as top of the top. There are probably very few people who can open it of now, and only one does is talking about it publicly. And after 6 years or so, he was able to develop a method in which he was able to open it in 2 minutes. Yes? And he's going to reveal it soon. That's the important thing. And he did that before with the Abloy Classic. He also released a tool for Abloy Classic locks. He released it, and now everybody is just able to buy the tool and learn how to pick Abloy Classics, which were considered unpickable for 100 years. So even for the Abloy Protect 2, which is now considered as the best of the best. By the way, there is one Bulgarian guy who is like working on automotive tools and evaluating his name is he will sell you a 3,000 euro decoding set for this lock, and there is a high probability that it really works. Yes. So even now there is this way, but it actually works not by picking, but by decoding, measuring something, and then creating your own key. So that's not picking basically, but you know, it's possible to overcome. But this guy Matt Smith, he developed a way how to pick Abloy Protect 2, and he's about to disclose it. So just like every other lock before that, after he discloses it, you will be able to buy a tool or make a tool for that lock and just pick it. That's it. Just like if somebody finds vulnerability and then somebody makes an exploit for that. Like, it's of course harder to make, harder to use this exploit in this case, but it is possible. Next, the magnetic locks. They are also marketed as unpickable. That's just BS, big BS. As of now, multiple people shared videos, like, you know, these lockpicking YouTubers. There are many of them right now, with which you can open it in 20 minutes probably. I saw recently even faster picks on the latest generation, and I think that in the future there will be a tool just like this, basically the self-impressioning tool that would be able to open these magnetic locks really easily. That's like a theoretical thing, and I think it will just come in a few years. So don't go for that. Next thing is the magnetic locks. You know, you don't want the magnetic key to get near some really really sensitive electronics, and also if the key or the lock get to a stronger magnetic field, it can just demagnetize or magnetize differently. It will just stop working with the key. So that's next thing. Bauli, yeah, this really strange strange key. Like, it's trying to hide the mechanism, and it's like virtually unpickable because you don't have there is no way how you can just get the picks inside. But the same guy, Matt Smith, he just showed what, why? No, you can just get your classic electric pick gun like this. You can then attach pick tip with this shape, you can insert it in the lock and open it. And he shared a video, I think about a year ago, and that was it. So now, like, everybody can open it this way. This is basically the simplest way anybody can pick a lock with any tips in that. Yes, next. Okay, these locks with multiple pin arrays, they are quite difficult to pick because there are many things you have to pick, and it's always harder. But like the good pickers, they have like 10 minutes mark or even faster. However, of course, still there can be a modified tip for this or something like that. Hypothetically, I think that really professional red teamers, either white or black hat, have such tools that could open even these locks faster. And just as a nice bonus, which I really like on our faculty, basically at most buildings on our university, and at all dormitories, I think, of Masaryk University, we are using this guard CPS system. And really that is nothing. Like with this, take 10 seconds. Every of that lock can be done. And what is the worst things about these locks, and basically about all of the locks that are being used in institutions and companies, they are master keyed. Like, it's a really good thing, like theoretically, technically, because one key can open many locks, and one lock can be opened by many keys. For example, you can set the rights and so on. But the master key is basically reducing the pick resistance to nothing. So for example, the locks that are being used at the front doors or back doors, which are supposed to be used by every key basically, so everybody can get in with their own key, they are made in a way that they're pickable just by jiggling, basically. It's nothing. So basically, the way how you can get into a premise is really simple. And just as a bonus, I have a link to this in my paper. They even released in their catalog references, so you can actually find companies and institutions which are using this system, so this master keyed guard CPS system, and I think more companies do that. And basically you can just say this company uses that, let's go in there. You basically can be 90% sure that you can open the front or back doors just by jiggling it, because it is made to be so that it could be opened by many keys, and get into the premise and do whatever you want in there. So that's it. And of course there are some, yes, that's what I was trying to talk about before, the self-impressioning tools. Self-impressioning tools, I like to think about them as an exploits, because it's really, using these is nothing. So for tubular locks is this, for dimple locks, which basically are simple pin tumbler locks, but the pins are interacting with the side of a key instead of the bottom of a key. They are easier to pick or bypass just because of the much easier self-impressioning attacks. This is actually called for foiling attacks. So you have an aluminium tape, you put this tape over a deep cut key and just wiggle that key for a few minutes in the lock, and you will get an open. And then when you retract the key, you can actually decode the lock. Yes. So yes, the comparison to the kernel. If you want to keep your home from being exploitable, you need to upgrade locks. This is actually very important to learn for you that the best self-impressioning tools and best basically exploit decoding tools are for the automotive locks. The automotive locks are usually slider locks, and a Chinese locksmith, he actually made a company. It's marketed as Lishi. Lishi. Uh, you can find the decoders and picks for basically every car lock out there, and picking these locks is really simple. So you can just, with these tools, just mechanical tools, you can steal basically every car without immobilizer. So like this old Skoda Felicias and so on, that's nothing. That's really nothing. If you buy this, like the 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth picture is HU66. That's how Volkswagen Group locks are being marked by the Lishi. These tools is just you reset it, push it into the keyway, wiggle it for maybe minute, and you will get an open. And then when you retag the key, you decode it, and you're done. You can make that key. So this is really, really, really important to remember. Next, what I really like, and I'm not writing about that in the report, but I will talk about it here. For some reason, most people keep their backdoor less secured. You know, they use cheaper locks, they don't have cameras and so on. And in this case, such a backdoor will become your backdoor. You see that? This is just, I think this is how the word backdoor was created in our IT etymology, in our IT význam. I can't remember the English word. That people tend to secure their backdoor less, and they are easier to overcome. So this is just a fact. Now, what is different from our IT world? It's basically only the sources of information, nothing else. Because where you find your most valuable information is YouTube and Reddit, and maybe some other special sites, and that's it. And mostly the people are anonymous, so there are no names and logos and papers for the vulnerabilities. These guys just, you know, no meltdown logo, no Spectre, no nice web pages, and so on, no many names and so on. These guys don't care about academic credit. So the nearest you get to some hot and new technique is a video of a guy showing an old video of some other guy from Belarus that was believed to be fake, but now we see it probably is not, or you just need to work with the hint. So this is actually Matt Smith, the bottom right picture. Matt Smith, when he was asked about how he is right now picking the Abloy Protect 2, and he said, all I can say right now is I'm using electronic help. And he's about to disclose that, by the way. Don't forget about that. Don't use Abloy Protect 2 right now, because this guy will disclose how to bypass it, and then it just won't be secure, because of the popularity of this lock. I think that very big part of pickers of Locksport persons are going to obtain such a tool, or prepare a way how can they pick such a lock. So very important to know. Yes, this is just a Reddit table which basically classifies the locks by the difficulty of picking, and it works in a way that if you are part of Reddit lock picking, you will get assigned a belt based on which lock you will provide an evidence you were able to pick. But Even the black belt, as you can see there's this Bowley. We know over a year now that Bowley lock is really easy to overcome with this. So it should not be there, it still is there, and I don't know why. Yes, so don't take it for granted, but every log that is under the red belt, you just know that it's considered by the community as a whole as not too hard to pick. Like with a few years experience, and if you're really trying and you have the right tools, you can do all of that. Like the red belt and black belt, harder, but as you can see there are some exemptions. Okay, and yes, the reasons why you won't find much public information, because lock manufacturers are far from, good guy Intel who will offer you a bribe. These companies will sue you. They will brag about IP, and some companies even patented the tools needed to open their locks. Also, the agencies who invest the most money to this, this NSA, CIA, BIS check, I'm sure that they have something. They just won't share. They are really bad about it. So, okay, that's all from the presentation. I just want to show you very quickly. I'll be an attention whore for a while, so just get me to a big screen. So this is just my basic toolbox. I could open vast majority of locks out there. I'm lockpicking from my 14, but since my 14, but I'm not good at it. I think I'm below average picker, but still, with all I have in here, yes, this is how it looks like. This is like the main tools, my main picks and tension tools. I can just about, with the right amount of time, because I'm not good at it, open almost anything, and so can you. Like all of these together, I don't know, if I get it together, it was around 100 euros. Yes, I did not invest much in my tools because you don't need. But this, like, you have electronic, you have spinner, you have very many special picks, you have something else. You can open everything, and I have the casting tools. I can cast any key, and so on, and just you don't have to invest. I invested throughout my whole life. I invested about up to 300 euros to everything I have that is about lock sport, and that's just because I wanted to be able to overcome most of the locks. And my point here is that anybody can do that. Like with your free time, if you are trying to be a thief, or you are trying to get into some company, you're more sociable than me, you can just do that. And that's why I wrote that paper, and I hope you will read that paper. That's like, there are some more details, some more definitions, some basic information, really basic, like nobody that is who is interested in lock sport, that would be boring for them. That would be like for you reading about the basic of networks. But this, for you, I hope, will open a door, but after which you will see a lot of things, a lot of physical attacks in a different and broader context. And next time you will start your career, a job somewhere, you will get responsible for something for your premise, you will think not only about the network tools, about the cabling, about the policies, user policies, and so on. we will also think about the locks, and hopefully about other physical properties that I'm trying to hint you in that you should watch a video or two about. So that's it. I hope this will help, and I hope that next time advanced topic in information security will be available, or some other course. At least one lecture will be dedicated to locks, and maybe next lecture to other ways how you can get to premise. So that's it. Thank you very much.